as a lender, right, one of the things that people seem to get scared of is the term foreclosing, okay? Because they're like, oh, I don't really know what that means. And that's usually what happens, is they just aren't comfortable because they don't know what that means. And they don't know what that looks like. So that's what we're going to kind of talk about real briefly right now, okay? And that's the foreclosure process. So if I'm lending money, and I've been very fortunate, I only ever had to foreclose on one property. And the reason why? The borrower died. Can't do anything about it. So when you think of this, it's actually not a bad deal. If we think about the example that I gave earlier today with the guy named Jack, he lent his money 70% loan to value, okay? The property, if it was completely fixed up, was worth $140,000. But worst case scenario, it's at least worth what I lent. So I know I'm going to end up with funds somewhere between there, whether I'm going to get $100,000, which is what I'm going to lend, or potentially more, okay? So when we start thinking of what it looks like, I'm going to talk about it from a Texas standpoint. This is mainly because I live in Texas. So when I'm lending money, I'm lending my money with a property secured out here in Houston, and I like to go through these process. So normally what's going to happen, now in my case it was a little different because the borrower did pass away. So we're going to pretend for a moment that he was still alive, okay? What you want to first do is let them know they missed their payment, okay? Hey, you missed your payment, what's going on? And usually a lot of times just following up with them, it's something small. It's actually not a foreclosure, okay? Hey, I didn't realize I missed my payment. B, my income check's a little late. C, we had some unexpected proceedings. I'll get you the funds here very quickly. And sometimes just following up with them will let you know. And when we read through a promissory note, many times there's a late fee if they're going to miss a payment. And they have a small grace window, like 2 or 3 days, sometimes 10 days, whatever it may be. But if they miss a payment, don't be shy, charge them the late fee. This lets them know you're serious. Now let's go ahead and pretend for a moment that they still didn't make their payment. The next step that you really want to do is what you see here on the screen, is you need to provide a notice of default. Okay, so this is normally done by your attorney. This is the best person to do it. You do not want to do this yourself. Because when someone gets that letter from an attorney, whew, you should see them perk up. They'll find money somewhere to make a payment to you to make this process whole. So when we provide a letter of default, usually what this is going to say is, hey, you've missed a payment. We are now going to start the foreclosure process. This does not mean you're foreclosing. This means that you're starting the foreclosure process, right? And a lot of times, just that verbiage and language alone will honestly scare someone enough, right? Following this, we need to start sending accelerated notice of the copy for the foreclosure that's actually going to end up going to the county. So if we're going to just keep escalating this situation, pretend they still can't make payments, pretend they're still at this point in time, they haven't perked up and done something to you. Great. I am now going to go ahead and give this to the county. And when I say me, it's really the attorney going through these motions. So the attorney says, hey, we are in a foreclosure area, right? We're going to be foreclosing on this house. This property is going to go to auction. Now, here's where the common misconception comes into play. We're going to pretend for the moment that 30 days have gone by. I haven't received a payment, so I am really going through the foreclosure. When I say this, believe it or not, you don't actually get first immediate rights to the property, which is a common misconception, right? You don't just, oh, I have the house, I'm going to go sell it for what I want it for. No, believe it or not, it has to go to auction first. Now, this is a rule in Texas. You won't see this as much in the northern states like Michigan and Seattle, okay? But it has to go to auction first. What I can do, now that it's at the auction though, is give my price. So the very bare minimum price that someone is allowed to bid as a starting bid. Now that cannot be, or that can't be like a drastic amount more than what the real appraisal value would be. So I can't be like, well, the minimum bid price is $1 million. Nope, doesn't work that way. What you have to do is take whatever the appraisal value would be, and your attorney will let you know there's usually a smaller dollar figure. So if the current appraisal value is $100,000, we'll probably start the bidding at $99,000. So what this is nice is someone will bid that, look at that, I'm going to get all my money back, worst case scenario. Best case scenario though, it starts a bidding war. And if you guys have ever been to one of those auctions, oh my gosh, people lose their mind. Because for whatever reason, they still, even as they keep bidding and bidding and bidding on this property, right, they're going to go ahead and they're going to keep driving it up. And your goal and the hopefully end result is to get as much as possible. This is option 1, right? Notice the attorney had to go there. The attorney had to go ahead and send this to the county. The county go ahead and they say, hey, look, the property's going up for foreclosure. Everyone can go ahead and bid on it. Now, when your attorney goes down to the auction itself, this is what's unique. You can ask your attorney to do one of 2 things. 1, be as loud and as obnoxious as possible. Because know what? People will look at them. What's going on over there? Hey, she has something, right? And she'll be like, hey guys, I got a property over here. We're going to start the bidding. The bidding's going to start here in just a couple of minutes. If you guys want to know, here's the address, here's this, here's that. And they're going to be pointing it out to everybody there, okay? This, if you're going through this motions, it means you want to get rid of the property. It means I don't want the house myself. I know that if I can go ahead and just drop the property, I just want my cash back. I just want my $100 grand that I lent. You know, that's all I want. Just give me that back. I'm going to move on to my next deal. This is what you want your attorney to do. Some people, though, I want that property. I know that property is worth $140,000. I've only lent $100,000. That is a heck of a deal. When my attorney goes there, I want you to be as quiet as possible. You're there. If no one approaches you, if no one talks to you, wow, okay, I guess we get to keep the house. No one placed a bid. Now you get to really take foreclosure over the property. Your deed of trust that you had on the property will change to a warranty deed. Now it's up to you. You get to do what you want. You can either A, fix it up. You can flip it. You can keep it as a renter. You can have your agent throw it right back on the market and sell it for whatever price you would like. So this really starts to talk about the post foreclosure area. Notice, right, that as we go through these motions, everything you see here on the screen, your attorney should be doing. Don't be cheap. All right. For an attorney to go through most of these motions, it's going to be probably in between $500 on a low end. I'd say $1,000 on the high end to have your attorney do all this stuff. Guys, man, is it worth it? It really, really is. Because when we think of what's going on here on the screen, it seems very complicated. It seems like it's a lot, but that's why we're paying someone to do it. My time is very valuable. It's worth it to myself to have someone else go through these motions. So I love to bring this up. I love to talk about the foreclosure aspect for what you should do and what you could do, right? Option 1, you have your attorney be as loud as possible. They are going to do what they can to get rid of the house. Bam. Option 2, they be as quiet as possible. So you get to take over the property. So either option, it's a win-win. So does that work for you?
Absolutely. Yeah, that really sums it up. And you know, I think a lot of people are shocked at how cheap you can actually do this when you're paying your attorney to foreclose for you. Some people think it's going to be a huge legal battle and cost thousands and thousands, but
not at all.
Definitely not the case.
No,
So.
usually takes in Texas it takes 30 to 45 days on average, and like I said, $500 on the high end, $1,000, something like that. Like, man, that's okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Derrick. Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
Maybe we can get you back again for another episode sometime in the future on a different topic.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it, Cal. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Bye.